Welcome to Live on Purpose Radio with Dr. Paul Jenkins, where you will hear inspiring stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Feed your mind with a regular dose of positive energy and show up for your life every day on purpose. Living on purpose means that you have a purpose and you do it intentionally. And now, here's your host, Dr. Paul. Hello, welcome back to Live on Purpose Radio. This is Dr. Paul, the shrink who expands your life. We're living on purpose today and promoting pathological positivity in different ways. I have a returning guest with me today. This is a friend of mine that I got to know years ago as I learned of an adventure that he and his family had in going across the seas to a far distant land and bringing home some beautiful little kids. And there's more to the story than that, right, John?
There is. It's evolved.
This man's name is John Simmons. He is the author of The Marvelous Journey Home, and more recently...
To Sing Frogs.
To Sing Frogs?
To Sing Frogs.
That's a little weird.
It's really weird.
But
some things don't make sense, and they're not supposed to. So that's kind of the point.
Well, it catches people's attention. In the first book, The Marvelous Journey Home, you talked about the process of adopting some little kids from Russia.
Right, and The Marvelous Journey Home was written during the honeymoon period of our first adoptions. Mm-hmm. And it really made a point of trying to show the adoption from the child's point of view. We have 5-year-old Sarah. And it really made a point of doing that. But again, it was written during a honeymoon period. It left out a lot of the stuff that was a little bit more difficult, a little bit more realistic. And with To Sing Frogs, it went on significantly longer in time than The Marvelous Journey Home did.
And got into more aspects of this that are less like a fairy tale and more like reality TV.
Yeah, a lot more things that require a therapist or a psychologist.
Well, there are reasons we got acquainted in the first place, John.
Of course there are.
Without divulging too much. It's a challenge.
And, for us, it's not a matter of divulging too much. We've decided that we're going to share this story. The kids are on board. Amy's on board. And, admitting that there's some mental illness in our family or some things that we need help with, we aren't any more embarrassed about that than catching the flu.
Right, because it's part of the package.
It is.
Have you noticed this also? Now, before I go there, though, I want to acknowledge to our listeners that you are not only an author and an adoptive father, you are also a businessman. You have been involved in community outreach kinds of things at home and internationally.
Oh, I'm a legend in my own mind.
You are a legend in your own mind and the king of your own world. So welcome. But you've also become somewhat of an expert or really an advocate for adoption and the ways that children's, orphans' lives can be changed through intervention by people who care.
And you know what? I'm an advocate for children who don't have active parents. I get so tired of arguing over what an orphan is. Does an orphan have one parent, or has it lost two parents, or
do
are
they
both
have
parents still alive? Are they social orphans? And
you
know what? Kids need forever families, and they need homes, and they need active parents. And that's who I advocate for.
And they show up in this world without a lot of say about where they land.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Right.
It's children are in a dependent state, experience very little control over their environment or their circumstances. That changes, obviously, as they get a little bit older. They start to have a little more of say in the matter, but for the most part are at the dependent mercy of the big people.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I like to say, and I think I said it in the book someplace, that these are little people who, for a very short time, need big people as much as big people need them. I think sometimes we forget how much we need them.
Yeah, because they teach us things.
Yeah, they really do.
And they change us in important ways.
And they're so honest.
Yeah, right? They'll teach you a lot of things about yourself. Right, exactly. And that's one of the things that before the show, John, we were chatting about. What have you learned from all of these experiences and adventures that you've had? And one of those things, that there seems to be a universal understanding that we have a responsibility to care for these children.
Yeah, we have a family charity that's functioning right now in the Republic of Georgia. Georgia sits right between the Black and Caspian Seas and in between Russia and Turkey, which is not a good place to sit historically.
You're not talking about that southern state.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm talking about a lot more precarious place to be. Wonderful people there, very hospitable, incredible people. But we have an organization over there that works with helping kids transition from an orphanage life into the real world. And as I was over there, I actually met with the leader of the Georgian Orthodox Church, an incredible man.
You brought a picture to show me here today.
Yeah. And as I talked with him, actually, our program over there utilizes a school that's owned by the Jewish community in Georgia. And the rabbi who's over all of the Jews in Georgia allowed us to use that school and all of its resources for an after-school program for these kids at absolutely no charge.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah. And so we also had a meeting with the leader of the Georgian Orthodox Church. And as we sat and talked with this really old, feeble, but incredible man, one of the people who was working with me said, it amazes me that we have this American businessman, we have this Jew from Israel, and we have the leader of the Georgian Orthodox Church. It sounds like a joke. We walk into a bar, right? Yeah. But she says, it amazes me that we have the three of you from such different backgrounds working together to help these kids. And this incredible man, in a very soft and weak voice, looked up very slowly and he said, yes, but that's what all of us know we should do. All of us know that we should help children. And that stuck with me. I thought, it doesn't matter if we have no religion, if we're agnostic, if we're atheist. It doesn't matter if we're Mormon or Catholic or Muslim or Buddhist. It just doesn't matter. As human beings, we know we're supposed to help children.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy when we talk about so many things that are so divisive, whether it's politics or religion or education or I could go on all day. But there's something that we can't argue about. Whether or not we're supposed to help children.
Right. So as we use that universal understanding, there's a lot of ways to do that. And it doesn't always happen the way that you think it will.
Oh, boy.
What have you learned about that, John?
Wow. So we had a real opportunity when we were in Russia to get to know Sarah's friends.
Right. Now, Sarah is your daughter.
She is. She was 5 when we adopted her, and now she just turned 14.
The subject of this first book, Marvelous Journey Home.
In fact, she plays a huge part in the second one as well, Into Seeing Frogs.
I'm sure.
And so typically Russia doesn't let you get in and spend time with kids. Well, anymore they don't allow adoptions at all. But when they were allowing adoptions, they didn't let you get in and meet the other kids. You were there to bond with a child that you were hoping to adopt and work things out and move forward.
Right.
But you didn't get around the other kids. With Sarah's group, it was a little bit different because she was away at a winter camp, which was basically just a change of scenery. It was another dormitory in another building in a different city. Then they kind of went off and did some arts and crafts and kind of got away. But it was a lot the setting of the orphanage. But where she was there when we went for our first visit, they didn't have the structure set up, and they weren't used to dealing with adopting parents visiting during that time. So when we showed up, they just let us go play with the kids.
The other kids.
Right. And so there were a couple of dozen kids there that I became very, very close friends with, and that just doesn't happen in Russia.
Wow.
And even before it didn't happen in Russia. And I looked at these little kids, and they wanted to be cosmonauts, and they wanted to be ballerinas, and they wanted to be policemen. And nobody said, you know what, 1 in 10 of us are going to commit suicide the first year out of the orphanage, and I'm going to be that guy. Nobody said that.
No, that's not what they aspired to.
And nobody said 2/3 of the girls become prostitutes, and so, you know what, hey, there's my life choice.
Wow.
They didn't say that. They didn't say 3/4 of the boys become criminals right off, and so that's going to be me. And by the way, life expectancy is 31, so, you know.
The outlook was not very rosy for these kids.
No, and I knew that, but they didn't. And I was just their buddy.
And you know what, John? I think I've gotten to know you well enough to know how that must have pulled at your heartstrings.
You know, I'm really a different guy. I'm a businessman. I built an international business, and I can fire somebody and go home and sleep just fine.
Yeah.
And, if I've got to make cutbacks because it's the right choice for the business, I can do it.
Yeah, it's a business decision.
It is. But boy, you take that kid and you put him in front of me and let me play with him for an hour. And then you show me his chances in life. And I can't walk away and say I'm not going to do anything about it.
Right. It's hard to sleep.
It is.
Which has really driven your life.
It has.
As an adult.
It has.
I mean,
I spend all of my time doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
Last May, I resigned from my position as the CEO of the family business that I'd started.
Mm-hmm.
We hired somebody else to run that position. My brothers still work in the business. The family still owns all of the stock. My brothers told me, look, continue to pull your paycheck out of here. But
go do your thing.
Yeah, go do your thing. We're behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be our contribution. We'll run the business. You go talk about these kids who need help.
You formed a relationship with these kids that were not your own, or probably weren't to become your own necessarily, but you felt a responsibility to help them specifically.
You know what?
And then what happened?
You walk in and you get to know these kids. You fall in love with these kids. You hug all of them. But you pick up a couple of them and you take them with you. And then you cry for the rest of your life for the ones that you left behind. Mm-hmm. And you never forget them. Sarah recently was talking to me, and she said, well, I mentioned Dasha, one of her friends at the orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, where do you think Dasha is? I said, she's still at the orphanage for about one more year, maybe two. And she said, well, didn't she get adopted? And I said, no, we've seen pictures of the orphanage that you came from, and she still shows up in those pictures. She's still there.
Wow.
And it just floored Sarah. She couldn't believe it. And
because her whole life changed.
Yeah. And Sarah, in To Sing Frogs, we go through, and she actually finds her two best friends from the orphanage who were adopted. One was adopted in Russia. Mm-hmm. One was adopted in Spain. And she actually found them, and we had a reunion a few years ago. And that's kind of where To Sing Frogs goes. And so Sarah just kind of thought everybody got out of the orphanage, and everybody, they had their good days and their bad days and some struggles. But hey, everybody's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And she looks at that and looks at the ones who are still there and says, they're not going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And she's right.
Yeah. Well, we know what the statistics are. We know what the track record is. There's not a lot of kids who break that trend without some kind of assistance, without some kind of a rescue.
Right. So, that's kind of where we were. We wanted to go back and help those kids. Mm-hmm. I came back after the adoptions. I talked with my brothers, who are also my business partners, and they completely agreed. And we started working on building the business so that there would be enough money to do something. And I was kind of on a countdown with the age of these kids. I'm watching my daughter get older. I'm watching these kids get older.
It only goes one direction, doesn't it?
Boy, we all get older, don't we? Gravity always wins.
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah. So as we were working on going forward and building this, and I'm watching my daughter get older, and I'm saying, we have to get this started. We've got to get to Russia, and we've got to get a program going, or we're going to lose these kids.
We can't wait very long.
Right.
We're going to pick it up right there when we come back. Hang on, folks. Thank you for listening to Live on Purpose Radio. We're so glad to have you here. Please come by the website, drpauljenkins.com, spelled with a D-R, drpauljenkins.com. On the website, you'll have an opportunity to receive a free download. And while you're there, make sure you click on the social media icons. Come over to Facebook, where we will be posting these episodes as well as our YouTube videos and other content and announcements for you to share. Please like us, comment, subscribe, join the conversation. We're happy to have you with us here at Live on Purpose Radio. Let's all support each other to live on purpose. drpauljenkins.com.
This is Kirk Weisler to tell you about morebetterbooks.com. Morebetterbooks.com is where you can find more better books for a more better life. Not only that, let me tell you about some of the very fun and cool select titles on morebetterbooks.com. You'll want to get a copy of The Dog Poop Initiative. This best-smelling book could change your life forever. It certainly changed the lives of thousands of Boeing employees, as well as school teachers, parents, leaders across the United States and in Israel and in Germany. And you can get your own copy at morebetterbooks.com. Whoa, that's not all. What about The Cookie Thief? This classic tale told in a rhyming format, fully illustrated with very fun hidden messages. Pick up a copy now today on morebetterbooks.com. Other great titles there: Finding Your Pathway to Mastery, Beyond Illusions, Make It Great. These titles are only available on morebetterbooks.com. Go to morebetterbooks.com today and begin to have a more better life and live that life on purpose.
To be what we are and to become what we are capable of becoming is the only end of life. Robert Louis Stevenson.
These kids that you got so attached to, who were friends of, and really, in a way, siblings to your own kids that you adopted.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work out that you can help them.
No.
Specifically.
Right. I went back to Russia, and we were going to set up a program to work with these kids. It took a long time to get going, but I was kind of on a countdown before they were going to age out of the orphanage. And to make a long story short, President Putin shut things down for U.S. charities in Russia. And it was just over.
Just shut it down.
Just like that.
Wow.
I mean, we'd been putting things together, and just one day it was just over and it was done. And the people I was working with came back to me, and one of them said, "I grew up in the Republic of Georgia. Is this just about helping your friends or your daughter's friends, or is it about helping any kids?"
Now, for those of us who are geographically challenged, in the olden days, it was just Russia. Right. Or the Soviet Union, and those were interchangeable terms, but that is not true.
No. The whole eastern part of Russia broke off. California is going to fall into the ocean. Yeah. And that's kind of what happened in Russia. Most of their eastern provinces and southeastern kind of fell off as the Soviet Union collapsed. In Georgia, you had a bunch of the stands. You had Moldova. You had Georgia, and just all of those in that whole region kind of broke off, and then they were kind of sent to fend for themselves, and that was tough for them. It was really tough.
Which is a blessing and a curse, but the short version of the story is Russia and Georgia, two very different stories.
They are. In fact, they went to war several years ago over some disputed territories, and it didn't work out well for Georgia.
Yeah. So this person you were working with had ties to Georgia.
Right. And so she'd grown up in Georgia, which was just one of the states in the Soviet Union. And so now it's its own country. And so she said, "Can we set up this program in the Republic of Georgia?" And, that was hard for me. I'd fallen in love with these little kids, and I really wanted to help my friends.
The ones in Russia.
Right. And when I couldn't, I thought, you know what? Somebody else loves these other kids as much as I love those ones. And I've got to do something. We've got to help some kids. And so even if I don't get to help the ones I want to help, I want to help other ones. And, that's kind of different. As you get in and you work with these other people and serve people that you hadn't intended to serve, you end up loving them every bit as much as the other ones. It doesn't mean that the other ones go away or that you forget about them or that you don't have nightmares, because I still do.
Yeah.
But you fall in love every bit as much with the ones that you're able to help. And that really taught me an important lesson, that you've got to do something. I watch people say, well, gosh, if my parents were still alive, I would help them. And I see so-and-so, and she doesn't help her mom and dad, or he doesn't take a day and do anything with his dad. But I would do that, and I would appreciate it if my parents were still alive. Well, they've got the time. They've got the desire to help somebody. So they can't help mom or dad. Go help somebody.
Yeah, we got a retirement home just down the street from our house, and those people get so lonely.
They do.
You're saying if you can't serve your mom and dad, walk down the street to the retirement home and read something to them.
Right. And by the time you get done there, you'll be in love with the people you're serving.
Right. Because they're good people just like your mom and dad are.
And you know what?
Or these kids in Russia.
Even before you get involved, there's somebody who loves them every bit as much as you love the ones that you can't serve.
Yep. Everybody is somebody's son and somebody's daughter. And
right.
Yeah. That is an excellent point, John. And you know what? I love what you said about in the act of serving them, you develop the love.
And it doesn't take long.
So don't worry about whether you love them already. Just serve them.
Yeah. Get out and do something. You can't do everything, so do something.
Mm-hmm. That is an excellent point. There's plenty, isn't there?
There is.
An abundance of opportunity. Do you think
That's
we'll
one
ever
thing we're
run
not
out?
lacking.
Right. Right. And as you pointed out earlier, this is really a human family kind of an issue. It's not that there are kids in Russia and they are a special case and need help because of that. They're just representative of people, even in our own communities.
Yeah, you know
who
what?
need that touch.
My brother and sister-in-law adopted a sibling group of 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
Right here out of Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Right here out of our system, whose parents weren't taking care of them. This isn't a Russia problem. It isn't a China problem. It isn't an Africa problem. It isn't a big city blight problem.
Mm-hmm.
This is a human problem. It's happening everywhere. You know, I heard a really fun quote recently. Somebody asked a lady, so we have all these kids in the United States who need to be adopted. Why did you go to Russia to adopt? And she said, because that's where my kids were.
Uh-huh.
And that really hit me. So wherever you're drawn to do something, go there and do it. If that's in your own neighborhood, if that's where your resources limit you to, or if that's where your heart is, fix your neighborhood. If that's in Africa, well, then get on the boat.
It's, you know what, that is profound. There is some reason why this is showing up for you.
Right.
And you know what, John? Little kids in Russia didn't show up for me.
No. So go fix something in your neighborhood.
But people knock on my door every day.
Right.
And I live and circle in places where I can immediately help.
Everybody does. You
That's
know, and it doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of resources. You know, we don't realize that if everybody would just do a little bit, how much it is. You know, I have 114,000 followers on my Facebook page.
Wow.
And just for fun, one day I pulled out a calculator, and I'm looking at this program that we have trying to help kids age out of orphanages and move on with life.
Yeah, the transition.
Yeah, and you know what? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to turn this into a commercial. I'm not even going to tell you the name of my charity. You'll figure it out if you want to. But
if it speaks to you.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if my 114,000 Facebook followers decided to donate $1 a month to this cause,
mm-hmm.
It's over $3.5 million a year. $1 a month.
Wow. Which is like 3 cents a day?
Yeah, just over 3 cents a day. And
I'm doing the math in my head. I'm thinking, well.
And so that's what it is. And so all these people are sitting around saying, you know what, I only have a few minutes that I can do something good. Well, if there's 114,000 people that have a few minutes to do something,
that's a lot of minutes.
It's a lot of minutes. If there's 114,000 people out there who go, well, I'm on a really tight budget. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't have very much money at all left at the end of the month. But if they were to give up 3 cents a day, you can't buy anything for 3 cents a day. 21 cents a week. I don't know what you're going to buy for that.
Yeah, what are you
But
sacrificing?
But
right?
114,000 people over a year, that turns into $3.5 million. And I just use that to illustrate how little you have to do to make a difference when there's a whole bunch of us. I look at the progress of one of my daughters who's really struggled coming out of Russia, and just the horror that child lived. And she's 22 now. She lives in a group home. We're still really involved with her, but boy, she's really, really struggled. And as I watch her advance, I watch her go 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, and I just want to pull out my hair. Mm-hmm. But I look back over 7 years, and 3 steps forward, 2 steps back is progress. Mm-hmm. It is. And I sit right here, and I look at the Rocky Mountains, and I say, they're not growing very fast, but look how big they are.
Yeah. A little over a lot makes a big difference.
It does.
So let me see if I'm understanding you correctly, John, because I think your main message here is do something.
Yeah. You know what? If you want to help me in Georgia, I'll put you to work. If you want to help me,
you got plenty to do that.
I got plenty of places that you can do this. If you are looking at the kids across the street whose parents, for whatever reason, just aren't putting in the time and you can make a difference, then doggone it, make a difference. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Have those kids growing up saying, I want to be like Mrs. So-and-so who lived across the street from me, who took care of me.
Who really made a difference for me.
And turn them into good parents. They're not getting a good example at home. Get them into your house and show them what a good example is and save the next generation. Mm-hmm. Save 4 kids in the next generation and by saving 1 in this generation.
Yeah.
And start running the math on that one. Average 4 or 5 kids a generation and take it out several generations to see how many people you've changed the world for.
It's amazing to me, John, to look at the impact that small efforts can have. And when I say small efforts, small does not mean insignificant.
It never does. They combine together.
What if it's in the form of a brief, small note to someone in which you express your appreciation for something for them? That could be huge.
It could.
It could literally be life-saving.
And if it's life-saving, how many people did it actually change the world for by the time it's all said and done?
Because of what that person can do.
Does it ever end?
Right. I can tell you're on fire about this.
Oh, I am.
And there's no excuse in the mind of John Simmons, as far as I can tell, for doing nothing. Because there's a universal understanding that it's the right thing to do. And then beyond that, if you don't know what to do yourself, donate something to someone who does know what to do.
Right. Be careful. There's plenty of scam charities out there, and everybody's heard about them. We watch them on 60 Minutes or wherever we're watching them.
Yeah, for sure.
But boy, there's research tools now. There's watchdogs. Get onto a watchdog site, internet site, and check out the charities before you're putting money into it. Make sure that
make sure they're reputable.
Right. But it's there now.
Absolutely. And if you don't trust them, do something yourself.
Right.
Whatever that is. And it doesn't have to be huge, because small does not mean insignificant.
Right.
And that person that you assist, it could be a life-altering event for them, and then the ripple effect goes out from them to anyone else that they have touch with.
Well, and it's not just the ripples everywhere they touch. I mean, now you get depth. You start talking generational. I look at the people who made a difference in my wife's life. She left an abusive home for foster care at 15.
Right.
And I look at the people who just knew that her family life wasn't what it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But they were her friends. And she was welcome in their home. And she learned what good mothers were supposed to be and what good fathers were supposed to be. And it gave her a pattern so that she knew how to build the dream family that she always wanted.
Yeah. Okay, John. So you're lighting a fire under the listeners of Live on Purpose. And now they're all fired up and wondering where to go and what to do. To connect with you, the best way, probably through your website.
Yeah. JohnMSimmons.com.
John with an H.
Yeah. JOHN.
M. Simmons.
Simmons, SIMMONS.com.
.com. Okay, got it.
You can find anything about me you want to there. I'll even put some dirt up for you.
Hey, that'll be fun. We'll put up links to your website on our site as well.
That'd be
John.
wonderful. Thank you.
That's a way they can find out about your books, about the charities.
Yeah, the blogs. I mean, they can find a piece of everything there.
Click into Facebook, become one of the 114,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us at Live on Purpose Radio today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
What would be your final word to our listeners today?
Do something.
Yes. Nice.
Thanks.
Go live on purpose, everybody. And as John M. Simmons says, do something. Signing off.